Hi, my friends and family and enemies in the USA and Russia and everywhere in the world, the whole planet Earth. All my friends and family, how do you do? It's spring break here in Santa Cruz. And today I ask, will you be here on timelessness? Once upon a time, dude that bums a dime in his prime. Didn't you? You used to laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Now you don't talk so loud. Now you don't think it's so cool to be proud about having the symbol of your continuancy be a 10-minute deal. How does it feel where there is no clock? Like you're free to roam and you ain't got nothing to hold you back? What's Ganja's role? She helps you remember the timeless zones. 'Cause me on the clock, I'm like a chicken with its head cut off. You gotta meditate to get access to multidimensionality and timelessness and throw out the hate. And how does it feel when you know the real new normal timeless is timeless services of joy to the one? That's my deal. No need to get uptight or get into tizzy at all. Will you be here on timelessness? Time frame. Gnosis. What is the demiurge? And why did a man who told me his name is Noam why does he call the clock or the Babylonimeter, I call it the Babylon time, the liar, or I would say the eternal liar? He said because it always says something different than it is. It's a linear equation. It's a lie. It's always in the future. Time frame has framed humanity. Because in reality, if you take enough psychedelic plants, you're forced to remember time is elastic or rubber or circular. The Orobolo and the Mayan calendar is this amazing work of art that's both circular and linear. As if basically time is more like a DNA than linear. The clock is the mechanical basis of framed humanity, and perhaps why this hornet is wanting to attack me right now, because he thinks I represent the force of the artificial moving in, when from my perspective, or I should say she, because it's a female, from my perspective it's the opposite. I've been in this place much longer, and the only way that this female has any right to attack me and under the rules of the jungle is if this was her place, and it's not. So she better know that. She should know that by now, so she'll probably leave me alone. So will you be here on timelessness? Time is both how we meet and synchronize and simultaneously a lie. In other words, sometimes you need appointments once in a while. I didn't write this down, but I think about the movie Aaron Brockovich and how as a young man, a teenager, when I saw it in the movie theater, Aaron was dating a man who was a carpenter who kind of bragged or admitted that he liked doing carpentry because he could do jobs or do contracts as a carpenter contractor. And then when he was done with the job, he never had to work 40 hours a week. He could take as much time off as he could afford. So time does not really exist, if you think about it, because it is always the timeless now. This is a subject really dear to my heart because it's my Mayan birth sign. And I'm serious, man. This ain't your place. You gotta remember that. You see all this man-made crap? That means it's my place. Big Ben, the invention of the clock, was the very beginning of the AI takeover through the mechanical 666 beast construction. And sometime around then, when they came around, the warlords came around and said, "You got to pay us rent or fight in our army." That was the beginning. The reptilians brought this idea for sure. Probably that was the beginning, if not the Anunnaki. So it is always the timeless now. The demiurge destroys the quality of time. If you notice that, that's the first step to transcending this insane human recycling prison planet system that we've been in. Because timelessness, in timelessness, the creative womb is psi-time or psychological time or the timeless now. Okay, when I've written songs or made up ideas, come up with ideas for these videos, even I had to really let go of the stress. Some days when I was worried about doing something, I couldn't think of a really good idea. So I've been thinking about this. I've been experiencing this lately. It's just something with being forced to deal with the Babylonometer and the strictness of it. We all have to, if you want to heal, we have to go through this phase of facing the reality that it's false. The quality of the vibrations you experience in creation, in sex, or sex with a beloved, or your ideally higher gamic soulmate union, or a tantric, permanent tantric marriage would probably be a good reference for how this would feel. Or someone who created an invention, a songwriter, a poem writer, people who channel healings, music jam, if you like jam bands. That moment when it's in the jam, it goes. The time when you're really enjoying it is when it's in the timeless flow. That's the moment when it's fun. So dancing is another one. When you actually lose yourself in dance, that's when you're actually experiencing timelessness. Okay, so which is your original state, the original vibration before the intrusion of the system, right? So all of these art forms, if you really want to do them well and do a good job and enjoy it, they're accessed. They're all done and accessed through timelessness and synchronization. And in other words, you have to be, as Jose Arguelles said, the Mayans are always on time, and he translated this Tolkien, the Mayan calendar, from Mexican to English. You can look it up at STARROOT starroot.com/dreamspell. She put it up there after her near-death experience. Art is the Tolkien is time is art in the timeless now within cosmic cycles. In other words, like the DNA spiral. It's always moving in cycles and linear, but it's also always, the power is always in the point of now. Remember, timelessness is vastly more real, and it's not on the clock. It's the infinite now. The infinite now moment. The original creator is always in the present moment. Now is the power. Clock time. Running late, you lose the reality of creation and quality of the original maker because you were always in an artificial hologram, the clock. The sympathetic nervous system is triggered by survival mode, and this is the anti-life, or the beast mode, uncreative, openly beast slavery, trauma bond, wounded. So when you live through your trauma, when you're always thinking about your traumas, your wounds, regrets from the past, plans, anxiety, and worries, the so-called past, so-called future, they prevent you from being really alive now. Okay, the so-called idea of time is really often the enemy of the real life, which is in the now. And this is how the archons and the Zeta Grays and many other demon interdimensional spirits can infiltrate into your reality through the slave clock system. When you believe it's you, 3D slave, you become a stress bot, slave, and zombie. Okay, it's just what happens. And it's just a fact, unless you learn how to meditate real well. I mean, no harm to what's real. But you know what? The fake can no longer rule. And if I'm a part of that, and the part of me that's a part of that, it's going to lose, okay? So I'm here to claim the real crown, which is kinglessness, which is sovereignty on the land. The kingship of the land is the royalty. What is real I-Tai, eternal creator. The fake can no longer rule. What is real I-Tai, eternal creator, experiencing life now? Well, time, the control in the 3D slave narrative is control through the base chakra, the fear mind. And this releases cortisol into your system. That's the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, and the sympathetic nervous system exists for survival. In the ancient days, like say if a wild tiger walked up on me right now, if it was going to maul me or try to take a bite out of me, the cortisol and the stress hormones would be released into my system, and then that would activate me to actually plausibly or possibly get the strength to run fast enough or climb high enough or find a weapon big enough to, or something to hide behind big enough to fend off this tiger. However, say if this hornet didn't leave me alone all day, that would be a good analogy for what the average slave, or say somebody who works at Burger King or somebody who works at the lower end of the hierarchy, their life would be like having this stupid little beast thinking it has the right to antagonize you and possibly physically harm you all day simply because the level of stress you're at attracts this creature. Perhaps I'm having anxiety. But actually, in reality, the sad truth is part of the reason why I thought of this idea for this content was because I went to the New Earth Expo website and then tried to order a ticket for the Laura Eisenhower show. And I don't know if it was just, because the dark, the secret ops or whatever, whether it's AI, alien or human, reptilian, secret government, whatever words you want to call it, the shadow banners, the secret blockers, they blocked me from even accessing the page, and it didn't say sold out even or anything. So I don't know if this is something that they put on that on their website for everyone, or was it just for me? But it's quite sad, and she actually got beat up the last time she came to a conference around here. So I think openly, changing her name to her great grandfather Dwight D. Eisenhower, or President Ike Eisenhower's great grandfather, but she changed her last name to that when she felt it was her mission to help liberate the planet from the dark side, and just being a good-natured Libra and open about her mission and open about the archons and the Zeta Grays and the truth about what happened with her great grandfather. This conference having one of the headliners being someone said an Illuminati infiltrator. They didn't really, perhaps the dark side, has enough CIA guys in there that they don't want Laura to be a part of it. So, they're really, trying to attack me through my anxiety and my addictions to, scare me out of it. There's a really interesting video that the YouTuber known as Indigo Angel posted late last night in her time from Alabama about the attacks on California right now, how they shut down a port in Los Angeles and San Francisco. It's very interesting, but she kind of she was the one who keyed me in on this, but tragically as an empath, like I said in many of these transmissions, I have felt this energy attack. However, the California with the Virgo and the Sagittarius rising, it tends to want to keep this image of being free, open, socialist, free place, or this town being an activist, but the students will only protest the tuition hike, of course, since Kent stayed in the acid test. So, as I've said, so if you enjoyed this comment, click on subscribe and make sure you click on the notification bell, because if you click subscribe, it just means I get another number on my pile of numbers in the game of numbers. And although it would be nice to hit 60 and 600 and 6,000, I don't have any faith in this number game when it has these dark beings in there that have infiltrated. For example, if I went on the public library server, when these same beings would not allow me to go on There's nothing wrong at all with my laptop. And my mom says, "Oh, that's just public free Wi-Fi.